Hi and good evening and welcome to Thfc Till I Die. Thfc Till I Die. I will get it right eventually. Never mind. Oh, Lord God, never mind. Downhill from here. Phew. Right, good evening and welcome to the pre-match show to our game against Leicester tomorrow, where we go hunting for some fox pie. Tomorrow evening, Philip Brady will be sitting at the dinner table, tucking into a bit of fox pie, gravy, mashed potatoes, and a bit of carrots. Happy as Larry with 3 points back at White Hart Lane. How are you this evening, Philip? How are you? You've been driving all around today. Where have you been looking for some foxes, have you? Today,
yeah, the only fox I saw was a dead one in the middle of the road, so I'll take that as an omen for tomorrow night.
Is it me? Oh, it might be me. Just carry on, Philip.
Yeah, no, I was just saying that the only fox I saw today was one that was being killed at a roadkill. So I'm taking that as an omen that we'll do the same to Leicester tomorrow. So hopefully we do. It's going to be they'll be looking for revenge though, because if you remember, we beat them 6-2 there in September. The game I was lucky enough to be at, and it was literally right in line with Sonny's hat trick.
Philip, we can't hear you. It's you. Can't hear you.
I'm fully talking.
Right. If you can let us know who you can hear.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Log out, log back in again.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Okay.
Right. While Philip sorts that out. I don't know who you can hear, if you can hear me or not. But anyway, if you can, let's keep going. Ellie, she said, sorry, so wrecked. Just felt tired, as you know, but been working hard on the social platform as I'm still resting up Dermatron and the Godfather. Forgive me, I will be back tomorrow, I promise. Big up, Ellie. Hope you feel better soon. We got Leicester. Oh, he can hear us both. Okay. We've got Lisa. Big up, Lisa. Hope you feel better soon, Ellie. I'm going to miss the stream as my son has a game. And then she says, big up, Dermot and Philip. I'll try to catch up later, Coys. Big up, Lisa. We've got big up David from Leicester. Hi from Leicester. David Clark. Hi from Leicester. I will be glad when tomorrow is over. I say you will. Right, Philip, can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Can I hear? Yeah, I can, Philip. Yeah.
Right, okay.
Hang on.
Yes.
Right, speak now.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Oh, hang on.
Everyone else can hear me apparently, so
I can hear you now. Sorry. It's my fault. My headphones were. I got a new headset tonight, so I'm just going through that. We've got David. Big up, David. It's hi from Leicester. I'll be glad when tomorrow's over. I bet you will. We've got Simon Cohen. Big up, Simon. He says, hi all. I'm off to Leicester tomorrow, and I hope you have a fantastic day over there. Really, really do. You're going with your son, I think Dave said earlier. I hope you are having a good day. Thank you so much. Enjoy yourself. And we've got a super chat here from Wayne Bonner, Philip. It says, good evening, my fellow Spurs sufferers.
Hopefully we're not suffering tomorrow night now. You know,
no, hopefully not.
Good feeling.
Big up.
Good man, Wayne.
I know. Good man, Wayne. Do you want to read some of these out if I bring them up here, Philip? You.
David Clark says, Simon, coming to my hometown, good luck. Well, I don't know what the good luck means. The good luck could be taken a few ways there. You know? I'm sure he get out alive anyway. First time to the King Power. Right. Nice one. Nice little stadium.
Yeah, it is.
That's from Simon. And David Clark says, thinking maybe another high-scoring game. Well, it was 6-2 the last time. So, you know. But I'll tell you one thing. We've got to watch Maddison tomorrow because he ran the show there for the first half against our place, even though we won 6-2, you know.
And then they can hear us there. Well, big up everyone, but also massive big up to Wayne Bonner. Thank you for the super chat. It really does help. And if you want to get ahead like Wayne Bonner and like he's got a badge beside his name, please pick up a membership. And also, if you want to skip ahead of the queue, if the chat is busy, get it in as a super chat. Look, we know times are hard. And look, even €2, it does help us chat. It does help us and it will help us grow. So big up everyone. And then, right, Philip. Now, you've been around and around all today, driving around Ireland. We've had the financial results out.
So I had a brief look at them before I left. I didn't get much chance to study them in great detail.
Well, these are the best bits that I've got.
Right.
It shows I leave a boring life. I've got nose dipped in figures here. But this was on the one side, we've got June 21, and then on the other side, we've got June 22. Now,
Right.
as you can see, Philip, do you want to go through the results there for
I
us?
think
Just
the
to go
master
through
seed, that figure for June 21 looks a bit light. I think we took more than 1.9 million. Must be a figure missing
that.
there.
No, that's true in COVID. That's when COVID was around that time.
Oh, okay, only 1.9 million. Jesus, low. Okay, UEFA prize money has gone down. That's probably because we didn't last too long in the conference last season.
No.
The TV and media has gone down as well, probably for the same reason, because we didn't get the match revenue from the later stages. Commercial is up significantly. That's probably from the Guns N' Roses and Lady Gaga and the boxing matches that's come up from. Total revenue is up. That's up 25% or more to 444 million. It's some take. The operation profit was 112 million. But when you take off all the wages and all the admin stuff and all, we made a loss of 50 million, which means a loss of over 130 million over the last 2 years. You know, so it's the figures aren't bad really, but I think they do show why we don't do a Man City and a Chelsea. It's that lashing out hundreds of millions for players. We can't afford it.
No,
we can afford it, but we're not taking the risk of paying money we haven't got.
But do you think, Philip, looking at them figures, okay, you can say the other side's COVID, but on the 22 side, does it show that if they knew the money was coming in, it was said on Dave's show earlier, I think Jack said it, if they knew the money was coming in, wouldn't you have risked during the summer and the January transfer window, knowing you was going to have money to cover that?
I think Daniel Levy is naturally cautious. He's not going to spend money. Even though he mightn't think it's coming, until it's physically in his fist, he doesn't spend it. And that's what sets him aside from other chairmen would take the risk. But I think Daniel, now in a way, I'm not saying I'm glad about it, but I'm relieved in a way that he hasn't done a Man City on it or a Chelsea on it, which is only going to lead to trouble for the club down the road. Because you can be sure the first sniff of impropriety financially by Tottenham, they'd be almost like a ton of bricks.
Yeah.
They really would.
Yeah.
You even heard what you call him, Pep Guardiola going to slap at Levy today. That's totally uncalled for. You know, like, I mean, bad that we all have our feelings about Levy, but having another manager having a pop at him is out of order completely. It should not be allowed. You know,
we all know that Tottenham live in Pep's head rent free, so we all know that.
That and Harry Kane, he can't get over the fact that he hasn't scored a goal against us yet at home or away.
Oh Lord! So anyway, so I went through it all this afternoon, and believe me, after Dave's show, it was boring. It was boring reading. It would put you to sleep.
Did he give the wage figure? Did he give the wage figure?
No, it didn't. So what I've picked the good bits, Philip. So do you want to read through that for us? And then
you can get binoculars on here to read this. Hold on.
No, I read it. It's okay. I read it, Philip.
Okay, go ahead.
Read it. It's okay. I'll go there. I'll read it because I can see it better. During this period, we welcome Antonio Conte and his coaching staff in November 21. When Antonio arrived, we were 8th in the Premier League in the Europa Conference League. We saw strong additions to the squad and finished the 21-22 season with a run of 10 wins in the last 14 matches and qualified for the UEFA Champions League. Son's 2 goals on the final day against Jordan made him joint winner of the Golden Boot with Salah. Faced this season with the most congested Premier League list in Premier League history, the commitment from our players and staff has been immense. Everyone should be proud of what they achieved so far this year. As I write this, we are 5th in the Premier League, in the Champions League, round of 16, and 5th round of the FA Cup. Philip, before we go on to the women's side, what he's written, that last bit of paragraph for me, we're not as bad as people are making us out to be.
No, we're not. I mean, I would say that 70% of Spurs fans who don't really get involved with social media, who don't see all that's going on social media, will be very happy with the situation the Spurs are in at the moment. It's just that social media, not just for Spurs, but for a lot of things, has a habit of muddying the water a little bit. And to read, if you came down from Mars last night and read some of the social media, you'd swear Spurs were bottom of the league, out of the Champions League, and not in the FA Cup.
Mm.
It's just we seem to be very negative about things at the moment, and that's probably all because of the uncertainty about the ownership. And that's why the ownership scenario would need to be sorted out, or else this is going to continue until it is sorted out. And it takes away from the enjoyment of watching the games. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
When you're wondering what's going to happen next, like I have no problem with protests. I really don't, and I welcome protests. But what I don't welcome is protests inside the ground that can affect the players during a match. When it gets to that stage, I draw the line. I have plenty of them outside the stadium, whatever you like, no problem. But inside the stadium, that talk of the walkout last Sunday against City, I don't think it materialised. But that's the sort of thing I don't like. It affects the players. They can see what's happening, and it affects them. Anything that stops our team playing, I don't want to know. Outside the ground, no problem. Do what you like. Happy with that.
I think I agree with you, Philip, on that, because look, if you turn it into a toxic atmosphere, the players are going to feed off that, and that's the problem we had.
Yeah, it's going to. I've seen it. We've seen it happen. And okay, not so much over the ownership, but when Spurs aren't playing well, the fans don't give them much license. They're booing them off at half time if they're losing. I've seen it happen. I've been in the match.
We are the most fickle fans around, Philip, to be fair.
I don't know. I think everyone's all about fickle fans. I mean, I don't think we're any different. If you read some of the Liverpool sites at the moment, they're more toxic than the Spurs ones. They're absolutely they just cannot they cannot hack where they are at the moment.
No.
But anyway,
yeah, I know, Philip. We will get on to that. And we'll go to the women's side now, close to Ellie's and Mia's heart. And it says, under coach Rehan Skinner, Tottenham Hotspur women achieved the club's highest finish, 5th in the Women's Super League, including reaching the semi-final of the Continental Tires League Cup. We delivered a women's team training facility to the west of our training centre in order to provide an elite environment of the players. We continue to invest in the women's team. Going forward, it is crucial that fresh thought is given to the future development of the women's game. We need to approach this differently to men's football, which already has an established global following of 50% of the world's population. Whilst we have seen growth and significant support does not currently exist at the level which attracts commercial income to grow the game in a sustainable manner. If the clubs are to commit substantially resources for the long term, it is important that the sports organising bodies deliver the appropriate regularly framework and create attractive competitions that would deliver millions of fans around the globe. Philip, look, we probably have got the best women's side in the Premier League. You look at Liverpool, I heard today, have been relegated. Okay, Chelsea and Man City are well ahead of us, so are Arsenal. But to finish 5th behind them shows that we're not doing too bad. You know, Ellie and Mia, talk about the women's side of the game. Are you glad that Levy and Enoch, Levy is putting as much into the women's side as he is to the men's side? Do you think it's important that the two will grow together, if you know what I mean?
Well, I think, to be honest, and this is absolutely no offense to the ladies' game, and don't get me up wrong on this, but the men's team needs more investment than the women's team, I think, really, for the level that they're at, I mean, the women's team have done very well to get where they were last season. Now, they're not doing so hot this season, unfortunately. I think it's 5 or 6 on the trot now they've lost, other than the cup game against they won a few weeks ago. But probably that would say to me that they do need a bit more investment to bring in some more players, because they're slipping dangerously close to the bottom of that league, and we do not want to do a Liverpool and get relegated. But yeah, it's good to see Levy acknowledging the women's side is important. I mean, apparently they're expecting a crowd of about 30,000 at the ground on Sunday for the United match.
Yeah, they are.
Think about it. Can you think about a women's game 5 years ago getting 30,000 at a game? Not a hope.
No,
but
Ellie was telling me when she was 11 playing her first game for Tottenham, they played it in the park. With 6 or 7 people watching. How much it's grown since then, Philip. I mean,
and the fact that they're playing the home matches at Leighton Orient's ground, even I mean, it shows you that they're not making them play that on a practice pitch at Hotspur Way.
No,
which is where some of the teams, the teams make their ladies play. So it's good to see the investment, and also getting that girl, the English girl, was it from Chelsea?
Yeah,
that was a great move. That was a really
It
good
was.
move. So,
It
yeah,
really was.
I mean, let's we want investment on both sides of the club. You know,
Yeah. I know. I understand what you're saying, Philip. David Clark puts here the women's WSL will not go anywhere when they are playing at grounds where there is no undersoil heating or even tents with hot air balloons. Chelsea live televised game was called off. Am I
yeah.
reading that wrong? Is he
think
having
there's
a
a,
dig or?
I think he's having the thing. There's no hair dryers, you know, in the dressing room.
Oh, very fun. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I
I
think
let. Good job. Mia
Elliot
wasn't on
Miller's
tonight.
that one, I think, you know, there's a bit of tongue in cheek about that. I think.
I'm claiming the Fifth Amendment for that one.
Saying they should have sent the ladies to Dallas or Texas, where women's football is celebrated, not to Louisville, where football is.
Yeah.
I don't get the reference to Louisville there.
Oh, they went to Louisville, Kentucky for their preseason.
Oh, okay, right, right.
And that's where they went. Now, this is the competitive challenges now. Since opening the stadium in April 2019. Now, this was already in the Irish Hotspur earlier, and I do these bits are the most interesting bit, to be fair.
Yeah.
Since opening the stadium in April 2019, we have invested over 500 million in our men's first team squad, putting us in the top 5 spending in the Premier League. Now, Philip, I want to stop there.
Mm-hmm.
This is Levy we're talking about.
Yeah.
Saying that we don't invest in our team.
Right.
That just says it there. Since opening the stadium, we have invested over 500 million in our men's first team squad.
Yeah, yeah.
So
okay,
the managers do you think now that proves the managers have been backed?
Yeah, well, they have, yeah, they have. But like the problem probably is some of the quality of like I'm taking Steve Hitchen was still at the club in 2019, and he would have been responsible for signing in Ndombele.
Yeah,
which is 45 million of that money wasted for a start, right? Now, who's the other big purchases around that time? Okay, I know we bought Romero and we bought Bentancur and all that. So it has been the player has been backed, but unfortunately, we're not in the league where we can buy the £100 million players like Chelsea can do. That's what the problem is now.
Yeah.
We can buy decent players, good players, but we're not just getting the top diamonds that we probably should be able to get. And some other clubs like Brighton are picking up these guys, getting them early and getting them cheap, and then selling them on a huge profit. So I would say our scouting network, when Steve Hitchen left, I'd probably do better myself. Would be the best way of putting it. At least Paratici is trying to upgrade it now and come up with some of these diamonds, but we haven't really seen the fruits of that one yet. And probably we won't at all if Paratici gets a worldwide ban.
Yeah.
So that could be a one.
Yeah, Philip, I just got to pop off for 2 seconds. Sorry to some jump door. Do you want to answer David Clark's chat there? And I'll be back in 2 minutes.
Sure. David, so this is a very interesting figure now. So Manchester City's wages for a year for 22 players, not including bonuses, 188,859,000. Yeah, and I'm sure if you add the bonuses onto that, that would come probably to maybe 300 million, roughly, which is 2/3 or 3/4 nearly of our total income. Now, where I will say that this is where Manchester City's financials come into question. Their ground isn't as big as ours. I don't think their admission prices are as big as ours. So where are they getting the money from? They're getting it from hooky ways from Etihad Airways and Abu Dhabi, and that's why the FA is crawling all over them at the moment. Now, my cousin is a Manchester City fan, and I was talking to him today, and he reckons that they've done nothing wrong, which I suppose, if you switch the roles around, if Tottenham were being accused of this, we'd be saying, oh, we did nothing wrong. It's an FA witch hunt, you know? But he said it with a kind of glint in his eye that he kind of knows that they are in trouble. So, you know, it just shows you that wages figure alone is totally out of sync with what they're earning at the door. So that's why the FA hopefully will do a job on them, you know? So it's a very good point, David. Now, just see what else we've got here. Just get down a bit here. Sorry about this. This is another one from David. It's also about Levy. Levy is still to blame because there was a huge list of players who were not too expensive, but Levy tried to screw the selling clubs. So we ended up with flops. I 100% blame Levy for that. Yeah, we do have a history of not paying the asking price. Even when it came to Pedro Porro, it nearly drove us demented. But he was announced 10 minutes to go on transfer deadline day. So yeah, it's a case of Jack Grealish is another case in point. We could have had him if Levy had paid, say, another 3 million. And where would that have sent us, So it's something, if he can eliminate that from his game and let the manager and the director of football do the transfer business and just write the check. Really, that's all we want him to do. But he's cost us by being tight. He has, really has.
He has. I've put a poll in the chat, and it's, can Spurs get top 4 and win the FA Cup? 60% say yes, 40% say no. So actually, 60% of them thinking we can get top 4 and the FA Cup this year, Philip. So which is brilliant.
I mean, 16 matches to go, and we've a relatively no match is easy in the Premiership. We know that.
No,
but I think 7 of our next 8 matches are against teams in the bottom half of the table. So they're the games we should be picking up points. We've got 2 tough ones, 2 London derbies coming up after Leicester, West Ham and Chelsea. Now they'll be tough, but they'll be a yardstick. If we can win those 2, then we'll be on a roll, and then we can go for it.
With a further 47 million committed in the January window as we continue to support the team in the most competitive league. Our spend levels show we have invested in the team. However, we walk a fine line between long-term investment and short-termism. This is why our recruitment must be first class. We disagree on that. Must be first class, as mistakes at this level have a financial and supporting impact for the future seasons. We have felt and continue to feel the financial impact of supporting players' purchases, which have not worked out as planned. We have taken steps to improve this area of operations, and we believe the recent transfer windows reflect this.
Yeah.
Do you want the same thing?
Yeah, there's 3 words that come into mind in that sentence: Ndombele, Reguilon, and Lo Celso. How much did those 3 cost?
Yeah,
100 million between them, more. So that's a dig. That's a dig at St. Hitchin and the previous regime. And listen, I'm just going to relocate here. Okay, I'll be back.
Yeah, that's grand. That's grand for them. Long term, the landscape of the Premier League has changed significantly in the last decade, and it's understandable that some fans called for more spending, much of which is unsustainable for many clubs. We are competing in a league which they have seen increased sovereign wealth ownership. But see, that's the other point. The clubs like Newcastle, Manchester City, all are being backed by nations bakers, basically. You look at Chelsea, who have spent massively in this window, but putting players on long-term contracts. Manchester City are owned by a state, you can base it, a royal family. So are Newcastle. So they are polluting the transfer market as it is. And so when we go buy a player, that player is worth 3 times more than what he was originally. And same for we are capable in the league where we create sovereign wealth ownership and finance. In a league where the spending power is not vested in the hands of a few who dominate and have the ability to distort the market. Now, Philip, I was just saying that you look at Newcastle, you look at Man City, owned by royal families of nations.
Yeah.
You look at Liverpool, you look at Manchester United, the Glazers there. There's a lot worse owners around than we have. God knows how much Manchester United have spent over the last 5 years.
Yeah,
you look at Chelsea spending what they've spent in the summer, and especially in January. Does Levy have a point when he says there? In that point, he says the league where the spending power is now vested in the hands of a few who dominate and have the ability to distort the market. Does he have a point?
He does, of course he does. That's an absolute dig at the 3 clubs you mentioned. Well, 3 of the clubs you mentioned, especially. I wouldn't include Liverpool in that really, but Chelsea, Newcastle, and Manchester City. And Newcastle haven't really done it yet, but they will. They will. They're just waiting. Next season, we'll see what happens next summer with Newcastle. They'll put City spending into it look like a cheapskate compared to what they're going to spend. Man City have ruined it because they just pay whatever they like. Chelsea are the main culprits, offering these 8-year contracts. I mean, the most ridiculous thing in the world was Chelsea buying that Fernandez, whatever you call him, fella from Lisbon, who Lisbon bought for $8.5 million last summer and sold him to Chelsea for $110 million. I mean, where was the logic in that? A player doesn't become 12 times more valuable in the space of 5 months. It's just they were panic buying. They're buying all the players they can find. I'll tell you one thing. I saw a picture of the Chelsea team coach. And it was 3 coaches put together to get all the players onto the coach. There's that many of them. Their bench probably stretches the whole length of the pitch. So and that's only going to bring disruption and disharmony when players cannot get games. That's going to be an absolute minefield in months to come, you know. And let's face it, how many points are they behind us? We're supposed to be crap, and they're 7 or 8 points behind us.
Yeah, I know.
So this is the thing. They are totally to blame, those 3 clubs, or 2 of them anyway, and the other one will be, for distorting the transfer market and making it impossible. Because if you look at what the Chelsea alone spent more than all the other leagues put together this January.
Yeah.
You know, and the Premiership sold multiples of what was spent abroad. I mean, some countries 20 million.
Yeah, I saw a thing during the January transfer window. Serie A, La Liga, the French league, the German league, all 4 of them big European leagues spent just round about, say, 10, 15, 20, 30 million euro for the whole window. The Premier League, 3.1 billion for one window.
Yeah.
I mean, that just says it all, doesn't it, really? It says it all.
It cannot be, it's unsustainable. It's unsustainable. And what it's doing is it's making average players fetch 10, 4, 5, 6 times whatever they're worth, right? And what's going to happen there is when they're found out at their new club, right? Like I'm using Ndombele as an example here. What are we going to get for Ndombele? Sell him 10 million if we're lucky. That's going to be a loss of 30 million. And that's going to happen to an awful lot more players around the league who've been bought for astronomical figures, won't live up to their hype, and will be sold on eventually at huge losses. And that's going to put the clubs that are selling them into financial trouble.
Yeah.
So the whole thing could collapse like a house of cards here very quickly. If you took away the TV money from Sky, if you took away that 140 million, if Spurs got that, what did Manchester City, what did Liverpool get? They got more than that, you know?
Yeah.
So there's good. The whole thing could go like Italy and Spain here unless we're very careful. And that's why Tottenham are being sensible. You know, we might give out about it, but we are being relatively sensible in the transfer market. And a lot of clubs do not say that.
We really are. And in Finches here, we welcome that changes to the governance of the game, which will compel greater financial stability and financial fair play, the FFP, which I think is a joke, because you got Man City do what they've done from 2000 and what was it, 2009, 10.
Yeah,
they've been floundering it for years.
Abu Dhabi took over 2008. They've been out of.
Which I think the FFP is a completely joke. Major changes have been introduced in Europe around the FFP regulations, including the newly launched UEFA financial what's that? So
sustainability rules.
Rules. The full impact, which will be felt from season 25-26. They are based on 3 pillars: solvency, sustainability, and cost control. And clubs will have 3 seasons to adjust to them. Many expect these news will be a game changer for the sport. Even tighter relegations may follow. And then it finishes.
That's mad.
It is, and then just finishes up here. It goes through like rising costs and everything is just really. But this is the last bit I wanted to read out. The January transfer window saw the club sign 2 international, Dan the Man from Villarreal and Pero from Sporting Lisbon, while the development squad was strengthened by arrival of Jude Bell from Chelsea. We share our supporters' frustration at so many near misses, resulting in a lack of trophies over the last 2 decades. We have been in 14 semi-finals, made it to 6 finals, only won 1 of them. It must be our hope that we are soon celebrating a trophy win We are immensely grateful to our fans who have supported us throughout. We want nothing more to see them rewarded for their loyalty and passion. So that is really the statement out by Levy.
Yeah.
I mean, that says it all, Philip. 14 semi-finals. We made it to 6 finals and only won one of them. Now, I want to ask you this, Philip. There's people that are Levy out. That's it. Doesn't matter. Levy's this, that, that's it. Gone. One them out of our club. One them out of our club. That's it. But when you look at that, Philip, for a kick here, or the referee got it right against Liverpool.
Yeah.
Do you know, things could have changed. A penalty kick in 2009. If we scored our penalties against Man United, we'd have won back-to-back League Cups.
Yeah.
Do you know? Can you understand that? From somebody like me who's down the middle, I sort of take that into what it's about.
Yeah, I mean, you can't blame Daniel Levy for someone missing a penalty.
No.
You know, so from that point of view, the players have to take the responsibility of not being mentally strong enough. That's what I would put that down. But look at this. The most recent occasion was the Carabao Cup there in 2021 when Eric Laporte, who shouldn't have been on the pitch, scores the winning goal. So that's what we've been very unlucky in games like the Champions League final. The case in point, no way would that ever be given as a penalty now.
No.
But I don't know if anybody saw Mark Halsey's comment today.
Yeah, I did.
Very interesting, and he more or less implied that referees are told which teams to favour and how many corner kicks to give, how many yellow cards to give because of the spot betting that's going on in the background. And he says he might find soon that nearly every Premiership referee will find himself up in court. It was a massively dangerous statement to make for whatever reputation he's had now. That better be true or else he's going to lose it. But it was a massive statement to make and very worrying because I know all fans say referees are useless and they're this, that, and they're fixed and everything. He actually has now come out and said it. The referees favour individual teams.
Yeah.
So very interesting point. I'd say we haven't heard the last of it.
I don't think we have either. Philip, we'll just get through some of the chat here that we've actually done. We've got Paul Pablo, big up, who's come in. David said Levy's still to blame because there's a huge list of players who are not too expensive, but Levy tried to screw the selling clubs, so we end up with flops. So I 100% blame Levy for that.
I just answered that before I moved there. And Ndombele, Lo Celso, and Miguelon come into that bracket. You know.
And then Ellie was saying here, Brisbane Road is okay, but they should really give the lady teams more matches at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. They generate revenues. Arsenal, Chelsea, Man City, Man United, West Ham. I'm sure 30,000 would attend. Yeah, I
don't
really
think
would.
Those teams play the matches at the home. The occasional game they play at the main stadium, but not all of them. But then you've got to think of the welfare of the pitch as well, you know. So then all factors have been taken into consideration, you know.
Yeah. Big up Paul Pablo as well. Thank you for joining. David Clark says, with Levy in charge, Spurs would be sustainable for another 20 years with no trophies.
Well, not if the players don't bottle it on the penalty shootout. Like we're good at getting the finals. We're good at getting the semi-finals. It's getting that last hurdle that seems to be the problem. You know? It must be very frustrating, you know. It's frustrating for us.
And then David Clark puts, when we continue to have non-football expert deciding what players we buy, we will continue to fail. And that's what Levy is doing. Look, we had Steve. What about blaming Steve Hitchen?
Yeah.
You're blaming Levy. Blame Steve Hitchen as well. He was the one that was going out to buy the players. So blame him as well. You can't just blame one person. Everyone's got to take responsibility, Philip.
Well, that's what Paratiti's coming to do now, and he should have an awful big say now who we buy and who we don't.
Yeah, you know? Well, he's a don now, Philip. Now, come on, he's the don. So
he might be a gone don the way things are going. Oh dear!
Like that, a gone don.
Something, you know. But anyway, hopefully.
Yeah. Now, Philip, you've watched this documentary. I haven't.
Right.
We're going through some of the news before we get into the game for the Leicester game. It was just some news I've picked up tonight. So, do you want to tell people about it, Philip? What it's about? And
there was a documentary on BT. It was on Tuesday night. In fact, it was on again this evening. I was in a place this evening. I see it on the background where Daniel Levy gave a very open interview, I have to say. He didn't dodge any of the questions or any of the issues. It also had the architect for the new stadium, the head of the architect firm that designed the stadium. And he was saying that Daniel Levy, they had a meeting every Tuesday about the building of the stadium. And that meeting could last 2 hours or could last 12 hours.
Yeah.
But Daniel Levy went through every nut and bolt that went into that stadium.
Mm.
His handprint is on everything in that stadium. But that wasn't the main part of what the interesting bits he said. He came up and he said there are some very good things happening at Spurs at the moment for the future, which I can't divulge just yet. But the fans will be very pleased. Now, whatever that meant, I don't know. This was only filmed in the last couple of weeks because they actually showed Harry's goal on Sunday at the end of it. So it can't have been filmed that long ago. He also said, yeah, maybe the naming rights, yeah. He also said that all the profits from the extracurricular activities, like the Beyonce concerts, the fights, Guns N' Roses, will be plowed back into the team. Right? Now he's come out publicly and said that now. So he's made a rod for his own back there. If he doesn't live up to that, it's on record him saying it. Okay.
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing at all, and this only shows you the money that's been generated in the stadium. Now he mentioned that some of the events in the stadium. Now, he didn't say whether it was a fight or a boxing match or a concert or even a league match. There are 100,000 pints of beer sold most games and most events. And if you work out what they're charging for a pint, 7 or 8 quid, that's some money. That's nearly £1 million in revenue for beer alone, not taking the food or the other alcoholic stuff into consideration. Yeah. So, he opened his heart up a wee bit. Now, I'd recommend anyone, if you've got BT, look at the documentary. It lasts half an hour, and it's very interesting, as long as giving an insight into the way the stadium was built. And the most, like from a builder's point of view, or anyone interested in architecture, it showed that sort of fan steel girder holding up the south stand. Apparently, that took years to design. And it's a massive achievement to get that stadium up. Yeah. He highlighted the aggregate from the old ground is now on the floor of the bars, and showed where the center spot was from the old White Hart Lane, where that is now. So it's a very interesting interview. He's come out publicly and said things we want him to hear. We want to hear. Whether he does them, that's going to be told now in the future. So we'll wait and see.
Yeah. David Clark, I'm sorry. I respect you. I think you're a lovely man. Your comments are really good comments. I cannot agree with this comment. I cannot believe Hitchin found good players. Steve Hitchin was a feckin' disaster. He couldn't find his way out of a feckin' paper bag. He left the scouting network, the coaching network, in an absolute feckin' disaster zone. It's taken Paratici to come in and fix the thing. How can you say Hitchin found good players? He bought Jack Clark. Where's Jack Clark now? That for an example.
Yeah.
He bought Mr. Burger King. For feck's sake, I'm sorry, I cannot agree with that comment. David, I think you're great. I love most of your comments you put in. That one I cannot agree with. I'm sorry. Sorry, I cannot agree with that one. That's.
I just say on that, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes, really. Like, all we hear coming out of Tottenham is what Alistair Gold says, and what maybe a few of the other decent in the nose, but we don't really know what happens in the heartbeat of the club. And maybe Levy does veto transfers, maybe he doesn't. We don't know, but it's kind of easy to blame him because he's the chairman. And that's probably why he gets a lot of the stick now. Steve Hitchin, I would have done a better job on him myself, to be honest with you. No.
David, look, I respect you, and some of you put some really good comments. You really do. But that one I cannot agree with. I really can't. Moondog, big up. He says, good evening, Dermot and Philip. Big up there. Paul G, massive shout out to Dermot, the Godfather too. Level-headed people.
Yeah, most of the time.
Well, he's level-headed. No, he's level-headed. I'm somewhere in the clouds.
Hang on, so
yeah, that way.
Whatever way you are.
Yeah. Anyway, Moondog, Hitchin was a walking disaster. Exactly, Moondog. He was a walking disaster.
I'd love to know what he's doing now. Is he working for any
Hitchin?
club? Yeah,
Hitchin. He's probably still trying to find his way out for the paper bag he got himself stuck in.
Yeah, maybe in Don will get him a job in Burger King.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
And Dan Coy's big up. Dan is as
big
Ethan
up,
and
Dan.
Dermot and Philip. Big up, guys. Right. So that's the documentary. Please watch it. It is highly recommended.
Very interesting. Yeah.
Now, talking about the Don, the Don. Now, Benfica here, a talent spotter could be on the radar for Tottenham amid Fabio Paratici ban worries. Now, if people don't know, if you've been living on Mars or you've been under a rock and you decided to pop your head out, just to see what's happening in the world of Tottenham, Paratici was found guilty for cooking the books, basically, at Juventus. Now, I think there's an appeal going in, but the ban could be worldwide. At the moment, it's only in Italy, but the Italian FA have asked FIFA and UEFA to do it worldwide. So, Philip, I was reading this article earlier. So they've gone to Benfica. His name is Tottenham could move for Benfica talent spotter Rui Pedro Bars. If Paratici's hit with a worldwide ban. Now, Paratici, Spurs chief Paratici, has been handed a 30-month ban from Italian football for his involvement in alleged financial irregularities and false accounting at Juventus. Now, Philip, we've had enough dealings with bloody Portuguese sides. If he goes after this fella, this could last another year.
Has this guy got a buyout clause in his contract? I wonder. No, I mean, then Portuguese clubs are notoriously difficult to deal with,
Yeah.
I honestly think that, I don't know, I've never heard of this guy.
Mm.
When you say talent spotter, he's not like Britain's Got Talent type of talent spotter, is he? I hope he's a soccer talent spotter because I think he can get lost in translation here,
Yeah, he could.
He's a great singer, but he's not much good at football.
No.
So I don't know. I hope Paratici stays and the ban isn't upheld worldwide or Europe-wide or whatever. But as long as we have a replacement lined up and the replacement is good. Now, fair dues, if he spotted that guy that they bought for 8 million, that's over 120. That he sounds like my type of guy, Then again, he won't always get idiots like Chelsea coming on paying over the odds.
That's true.
But we'll see what happens. Obviously, nothing can happen until UEFA come out with their decision. And then they'll be subject to an appeal. Then they'll go to arbitration. And we could be talking this time next year. So I think that one's one for the long finger, really,
We've got big up Paul G's come in, said there's much to blame on Levy. He is to blame for some, but not like a lot of fans say. I'm really on the fence. So am I. I'm down the middle. I'm not one way or the other. Philip is the same as well.
I think the buck stops with the chairman. The buck stops with he is the chairman. He's ultimately responsible for everything in that club. That I mean, down to the fact they don't order enough beer for the match day. That's down to him in the end of the day. But that's not to say he's to blame for everything. You know what I mean? Everything rests with him, but it's going to be some poor sod in the catering department is going to get the blame for not ordering the beer. But Levy will be blamed. So that's the type of thing he's got to put up with,
Yeah, that is so true. And then he says one thing can't be argued is Paratici's involvement at Juve. How could Levy not find a replacement? He would be slandered. If he did, probably more so if he didn't. Look, Philip, look. For me, I think Levy's waiting to see what happens if he does appeal, and then if the appeal goes through, he could get it squashed. It could be lightened. It could be just 12 months. It could be 6 months.
Yeah.
Would you cut your losses now with the Don, with Paratici, and get somebody new in?
No. Wait until his position is untenable, that he can't work, then get rid of him. Because if you sack him now, you're only going to have to pay him off.
Yeah.
Really, there's going to be a severance clause somewhere. So that may still have to be paid, but I would keep him until such time as we can't keep him. But if he's looking for someone in the background, he obviously got a whisper that things aren't going well for Paratici and they could well be looking for somebody, But can't do it until he's gone,
No. Right, Philip. Well, tomorrow we play Leicester. And we got some team news here. We got Romero's out suspended, Luis is out with a knee injury, and Bissima is out with an ankle injury, which I think he had his operation today. So I heard.
Yeah, for several weeks with that.
Yeah, he will. And then doubtful for tomorrow is Papasar with a hip and Luka Mora, who's been out all season nearly with this tendon injury. Now, Philip, we're looking to pay a 3-4-3, and this
Yeah.
is the predicted lineup.
Okay.
Now, I run through the team, and then we can discuss the team. And I've got an idea for a back three, but I'll run through the team anyway. Foster, Davis, Dyer, Sanchez, Perisic, Højbjerg, Bentancur, Royale, Son, Kane, and Kulusevski. Look, for me, Philip, I would play Longley in the middle, play Royale where Sanchez is, and play Pedro in the right wing back. That's the only couple of changes I would make.
We need a bit of pace at the back tomorrow because Leicester are pretty nippy. That Iheanacho is a quick player. I don't think Jamie Vardy's he's still quick, but he's not as quick as he was. He's playing. Longley's not the quickest. I mean, Sanchez has a little bit of pace about him. Eric Dyer has got the turning circle of the Titanic, so we're not worried about him. Ben Davies will never let you down.
No.
Limited in what he does, but he does it the best of his ability, and he's a good squad player to have. We are a little bit short. When you take Romero out of that, we really are, looking a wee bit lightweight at the back. And I see, because this is an away match, I was arguing with you early on, Dermot, that maybe Porro should come in for Emerson Royale. But when I see that type of back three, I think maybe Royale is a better choice as to do a bit of defending. Bring Pedro on in the second half if we need him, Bentancur and Højbjerg, they're quids in the centre. There's no change there. But Højbjerg is suspended for AC Milan. So that's going to mean changes. And with Basuma out, that's leaving us a little bit lightweight for next Tuesday. Perisic, he'll play. And the front three speak for themselves, really.
They do. Philip, look, that back three really worries me because we know Dyer's a mistaken Dyer, though he did have a fantastic game against Man City. Yeah. Sanchez is as useless as Bambi on ice. He really scares me. Davies, you're right.
He came on as a sub on Saturday, which leads me to believe he's going to be their replacement for Romero.
Yeah. Would you not put Royale in the back three and put Perro on the right wing back, Philip?
No, because Royale's not a centre back.
No,
he's not a centre back. I wouldn't put him out of position. Like we've only just got used to him being a fullback, so I don't think we'll switch him over that quickly. Give him more chance to make balls of things.
Yeah.
So he's had a few good games at right back now, and he's been extremely impressive. And I think we keep him there tomorrow, and Porro to come on at some stage. I expect.
Yeah.
But the thing about Leicester, they played very well for 60 minutes at our stadium in September. They were the better team, and if Sanchez, of course, gave away a penalty after 5 minutes in that match, and it was I was maybe 20 yards away from us, and it was most blatant.
Of course,
penalty.
You went to it, didn't you?
Yeah,
you went to that game.
Yeah, and it was most blatant penalty. We fought back, but I'll tell you that James Maddison was like a Rolls Royce in the midfield of Leicester that day. He was brilliant. Scored a lovely goal. I kept thinking to him, God, why isn't he wearing one of our shirts? I think we should have gone for him. But anyway, so it'll not be easy. Leicester haven't had a great start to the season. Okay, the good win last week against Villa. But it'll be a tricky game. But I really think we're on a roll now. We've got the confidence of 3 wins on the trot. And I think we can do it tomorrow. And wouldn't it be lovely to do it with a last-minute winner again, like we keep seeming to do against them? Yeah. We did it 2 years ago when Gareth Bale got a couple. And they last game for Spurs. And then we did it last year with the incredible 2 goals in injury time from Bergwijn. So it'll be a good game. I'm just sorry they haven't picked it for selection on TV here because
I know
they're showing some crowd from Woolwich playing Brentford. Remember, I never heard of them before. Some crowd called Woolwich.
They're a new team in the Premier League. Yeah. They've just got promoted. They bought their way in, apparently.
Probably did.
They did. They bought their way in. Can't think what their name is. Is it Woolwich? Yeah, Woolwich something.
Woolwich Nomads. Woolwich Nomads.
Yeah. Woolwich. But just something. Just a little stat. Mia said it earlier, and I found out myself today. In the last 4 games, we have scored 16 goals against Leicester.
Yeah.
And we've conceded 7 goals against them.
Right. So that means it should be what? That's 4 games. So it should be 4-1 or 4-2 to us tomorrow then, to keep that up.
Yeah, we beat them 4-2 away in 2020 at the last game of the season, 21. We won 3-2, of course, last season in that last minute. Woodburn got 2. We beat them 3-1 then near the end of the season last year. Kane Son got 2. And then we beat them, of course, 6-2 early in the season here with Kane, Dyer, Bentagon, of course, Son with a hat-trick.
Yeah.
Now, that brings me on, Philip, to this. Now, this is the Tottenham Hotspur Premier Low School.
Jesus, look at that.
I let you talk you through that, Philip, but it shows why Harry Kane is so special, doesn't it?
There's only one thing to say about that. Harry Kane loves a goal against Leicester. I remember the season we came second to Chelsea. He scored 4 in the second last match of the season. That's the season where he was 5 goals behind Lukaku in the Golden Boot, and he scored 8 goals in the last 3 matches. 1 against United, 4 against Leicester, and 3 against Hull. So, I mean, 18 goals is incredible. And to think that he's actually on loan there for a while as well. He probably scored for Leicester as well. If you look up the stats for that, he probably scored when he was on loan. So, you know,
he did.
Yeah, and Heung-min Son is next, 9 goals. So, look, you look at 2 of our current squad have scored 27 goals against Leicester. That's incredible. It really is, you know.
And then you've got Dele Alli there. You've got who have you got? Darren Anderson there. Sanchez has got to go. Clive Wilson. And then you've got 4 Leicester players on that list who scored own goals.
Canute, see that? They like an own goal, don't they? And Buelo's Matsabila. I remember that goal. That was a cracker he scored. I think it was his only goal for Spurs. Yeah. Michael Brown, God. Robbie Keane only scored once against Leicester.
Yeah.
Very, very remiss of him. Stephen was Janssen when he couldn't score in a month's sake. Anyway, Eric Dyer even got a goal. And Bentancur got one last season. Well, this season.
Yeah, so there you go. That's the Premier League thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we've got a few people here. We've got Mick Lally. Big up, Mick. Thank you for joining us. Top of the league.
Top of the league. Come on, Mick.
I don't know. He could be an Arsenal fan. Let us know, Mick, who you follow. Let us know. For future, Davis is not a great left back, but a good left centre back. That's where he plays for Wales. Is there something that can be applied to Emerson as a stopgap only? Philip, would you?
It's a risk. I mean, Ben Davis has been playing off and on at centre back for Wales, so he's got experience. I'm not aware that Emerson has ever played at centre back, and it's a whole new skill set than playing at wing back or right back. You know, so I don't think so. It'd be a huge risk to do. You know, especially when you've got the likes of Tanganga on the bench as well. You know, you can put Tanganga in as a centre back ahead of Royale, in my opinion. You know.
And then Philip, with Leicester City, we've got James Justin's out with the calf, Ryan Brentford with knee, and Bubokti Sumer with the thigh. That's their predicted lineup. Ward, Kaskinen. I'll let you read through that team, Philip.
Danny Ward, the worst goalkeeper. He's a bit suspect. I wouldn't class him as being a great goalkeeper. Castagne's a good player. Sousa's a good player. Faye, that's the Belgian guy that came. Yeah, he's not bad. Christensen, know nothing about him. Tielemans, good player. Dewsbury Hall, also decent enough. Tete is good. Madison, okay. Harvey Barnes is a good player. And Ian Nacho. So, yeah, that's a fairly attacking lineup they're putting out, you know. But defensively, I think we can get at them. And especially with Harry. Harry now has got the monkey off his back now, getting the record. And he's playing his favourite team tomorrow. So, you know, there's every chance that Harry will increase his tally. He's only 8 behind Wayne Rooney or 7 behind Wayne Rooney now. So, you know, I could say by the end of March or so, he should be up on that. Another record gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then to finish off here on this pre-match, Leicester, Tottenham through the years, Philip, we've played them 33 times in the league. We've won 16, drawn 5, lost 12, scored 68, conceded 55, and we've got 53 points out of them 33 games
that's
in
good.
the Premier League.
That's the Premier League, so they must have been out of the Premiership for quite a while because that's only 16 seasons, you know.
The total games, we've played them 125 times. Pardon me, we've won 66, we've drawn 21, we've lost 38, we've scored 262 goals. And we've conceded 198. So we've got a very good record against Leicester, and that proves with the four wins in a row. Right, Philip, the first time we played Leicester was way back in the 10th of Jan 1914.
Don't remember that one.
In the FA Cup first round. Philip, were you there that day?
No, couldn't make it that day. Sorry.
Sorry,
I think I was enlisting for the army for the war.
were you?
I'm sorry about that.
And I was right behind you. We drew. We drew. I was at that game. It was a great game. It really was.
Yeah,
We drew
yeah.
5. We drew 5 all.
Why
Did
wall?
what?
Gee,
Yeah, 5 all.
nice.
Walden, Minter, Cartel, and Bliss with 2, and then in
Bliss,
replay we beat them 2-0. Walden and Bliss, and of
nice.
course we've beaten them 4 times in the league. Philip, we're going to end off there with the pre-match show. You've been busy all day, and it's, do you know what I mean? We've really gone through it. Look, we got a new show tomorrow. I want you to tell everyone about. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a good crack. We're taking the piss out of Soccer Saturday. That is the aim of the show. So, Philip, talk about the show. What we've got coming tomorrow.
Well, we're going to have Dermot and myself and Brad Matthews and another special guest on. We'll be looking at the games that are going on Saturday afternoon. Dermot has a title for this game now, which I let Dermot reveal.
It's called Thfc Till I Die Around the Grounds. That's the name of the show.
So what it'll be is hopefully the fact that the Spurs game isn't on any of the legitimate channels, we'll have to try and get a stream right to watch it. So one of us will be watching the Spurs game at least, and the rest of us will be looking at other games and following the scores on Sky Sports and BT and whatever, and generally having a laugh at them and having a bit of crack and trying to impersonate Jeff Stelling and see if we can get the statistics as well as he does. That guy's he's a walking computer. So I'm not going to say we're going to follow him, But so that's what we're doing. That'll start about 2:45 and it'll go on until about 5 o'clock once the games are over.
Yeah, and then after that, we're doing a fan show then at 7 o'clock. Then at 7 or 8 o'clock, I can't remember.
It's 7 o'clock actually, maybe 7 or 8. I'm quite sure. To just discuss the win, hopefully, and drown our sorrows if we lose. So that's the way it is. So there's a lot coming up in the next few days.
Yeah, and also on Sunday, we're doing a belter of the show, and we're hoping to get Mr. Dave Harris on the show. That's who we want to get on to join us. We're doing our all-time Spurs 11, all the way back from 1960 to 22-23. We're going to choose. We've got everyone's in the melting pot. We're going to come out with our formation. We're going to actually pick the manager as well. We're going to pick our all-time Spurs manager who's managing this team, the 11, and the substitutes bench. So it will be a belter of a show. So please, everyone get on tomorrow for Around the Grounds. Come in, have a laugh with us, have a joke with us. This could be the first show for every Saturday. We're gonna try to do a bit of
bit lighthearted.
A bit lighthearted, away from everywhere. Just take the piss out of other teams and also hopefully Tottenham win. And then on Sunday, we do our all-time Spurs 11. And Philip, look, I'm looking forward to that show immensely. I think the manager one's going to be the good one. Who we pick to manage the team? Now, there's 2 people. I would pick either Bill Nick, Keith Birkinshaw, and Harry Redknapp. Now, they're my 3.
Right, okay. I'm not going to reveal my 3 yet, but we're going to do this in such detail. We're going to even name the best bus driver they've had over the 60 years.
There's a picture going around with Henry coaches behind the team when they're holding the FA Cup. There's a picture, right? And there's a boss. I tried to find it. And
it's probably Ron Henry. Probably owned the coach firm.
Yeah, probably.
Henry was fullback. Yeah. So, it'll be fun. And there'll be no doubt we'll have a row over the selection because we're not going to agree on. We can agree on a couple of positions, but I can see a lot of them being contentious.
But I am picking one player. I know the goalkeeper is going to be, and I'm sorry, Philip.
I'm saying that's one I'm giving away. That's the one I'm picking too. Yes, Pat Jennings.
But you had Brown Smith. What's his name? The '60s goalkeeper.
Bill Brown.
You got Pat Jennings. You got Ian Walker. Sorry, he was shite. Right.
We're talking about goalkeepers here.
Yeah. Right. So on that bombshell that I was going to pick Ian Walker, we're going to end off tonight. Thank you all for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you, Wayne Bonner, for the super chat earlier in the show. And please, everyone, do as the Queen says. If the Queen tells you to do something, you do it. If the Godfather tells you to do something, you definitely do it. I'm now off to the chambers now where they're going to put me for the night for being naughty, for picking Ian Walker as the goalkeeper. And then you might see me tomorrow. But yeah, we're back tomorrow, 2:45, with around the ground where we're just going to have a lot of fun. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for watching. Come on, you. Oh, sorry, Philip.
Yes.
Sorry, I forgot to ask you. Score prediction.
Oh, God. 3-1 the Spurs. Harry Kane to get 2 and Kulusevski.
And I'm going to end the poll, which I always forget to do. And the poll was, can Spurs... I'm going for a 4-0 win tomorrow, by the way.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. And I'm also going for a FA Cup and League Cup double. We're going to win the league and the FA Cup. Shows how deluded I am. And the poll ended, we had 23 votes. Can Spurs get top 4 and win the FA Cup? 65% say yes. 34% say no. So there you go, Philip.
Very good.
Please, big up Wolf. Big up Wolf Muller as well. Thank you. Dan Coys, Pablo, David Clark, if you're still watching. Great to see you. And before we finish, we've got a super chat here from Dan Coys. He says, big up, guys, Coys. Thank you so much, Dan. It really does help. God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow at 2:45, where Philip will be looking like Jeff Stelling and Brad will be looking like Paul Merson.
Paul Merson. Who are you looking like?
Chris Filler. Chris
Kamara. Oh, God.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know, Philip.
Well, the time he missed the red card at the QPR match. He was QPR. In a red card.
What was that? Yeah, what was that? Oh, that was a goal there.
Good crack.
It was. But listen, he's not very well at the moment, is he?
No, so believe. Yeah.
So, but listen, if you want to laugh on your Saturday afternoon, you want a bit of light-hearted, where anything goes, just come and join us, and
even the Spurs are losing, we'll still have a smile on our face. Mind you, there might be a matchstick holding it up, but we'll have a smile on our face,
Anyway, God bless you. Thank you, Philip, for tonight. You've been a blast. Philip, you're on Dave's channel in the morning, aren't you?
I'm on Sunday on the Irish Hotspurs preview game, and same as this at 11 o'clock in the morning. So hopefully I'm awake at that stage.
Yeah, everyone get over there and support Dave. Get him to 9K. He's only 40 away. So let's get him to 9K before that show. Thank you all for watching. God bless you all. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust. And in the Don we trust.